Hey, on today's podcast, I want to talk to you guys about a bit more serious topic, and that is dealing with anxiety. I hope these tips you find them very helpful. Let's go. I spent the last 14 years playing over 1,000 shows, touring 22 different countries, and become a top 40 Billboard charting artist. I fired my record label to go out on my own as an independent artist to market and release my own music, selling thousands of albums and millions of streams. The question I always get is, how did I do it without a label and sell even more music? This podcast is here to show you the way. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my music business and a loyal fan base. So hey guys, I'm just driving back from dropping my amazing daughter off at school, and last night I had some serious heart palpitations, and we recently just got a puppy, and I love the puppy. I think the puppy's awesome. My mom had 4 dogs growing up, but this is the first dog that I'd ever purchased myself. And growing up, sometimes I used to feel not in control, and I remember coming home to another dog, and then my mom buying another dog, and it used to just stress me out with all the barking and whatever. And buying this puppy, for me, this last few days has brought a lot of joy, but it's also stirred up some anxiety and things that I didn't even know were there. Plus, I got a lot of work things on my plate and things that I've never done before. And, some things that aren't finished. And so the overwhelm plus the dog and, other things started to add up. And I felt my heart, I felt really stressed out, and the whole, frog in the throat thing. And I was just like, man, I don't want to feel this way. And maybe you felt this way in certain situations. And I remember one time on tour, because I had to chase down the guy for money every night and pay my guys, it was really stressing me out. And I remember my heart was like banging out of my chest. And honestly, I really try to, ever since then, never put myself in a situation. It doesn't mean I don't put myself in a place to stretch or to grow, because I always want to grow, but I believe you can do things with a peace of mind and with joy. And the Bible has a lot to say about this, and whether you're a believer or not, I encourage you to lean in, because these principles work whether you're, a believer or not in that. And I learned about a lot of these stuff from the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And it talked about just using the word as medicine, the Bible as medicine, and just words like peace, words like tranquility, words like calmness, and learning just to slow down and just saying, hey, my sleep is going to be sweet tonight. I'm going to think on things that are lovely, joyful, peaceful, and I'm not going to worry about them. The Bible actually says that, why take any worry or any care unless you can do something about it? Isn't it funny, at night is when our mind races towards all these crazy things, and we just start painting all these crazy pictures of failure and of worry, and we stir ourselves up. And I think that's part of the reason why my heart was pounding the other night. And so I started to use these principles, started to think on things that are peaceful, lovely, joyful, and clear my mind of the junk, cleanse my mind of these bad, negative thoughts. Like, you can control your thoughts. This is one thing I talk actually a lot about in my book Fighter, and I don't think I talk about it enough, is your mind. Like, what are you putting in? And the fact that you're listening to this podcast shows that you are a learner, shows that you do want to put good things in your ears and in your mind, because what you put in is what you get out. If you're putting garbage in your ears and eyes and stirring yourself up with all kinds of negative stuff and thriller movies and things that are just throwing you off and, startling you with news, and that's part of the reason why I deleted Instagram and kind of stopped looking at it, because I don't want to get stirred up with all these things and comparing myself to other people. So I share part of this just to be transparent and just say, you're not alone, but also hopefully that provides some solutions to deal with it, and, to not focus on these things that you can't control, that are out of your control. And if you can do something about it. Like, if this dog was really, really stressing me out to the point, whatever, then I'd obviously get rid of it. From that touring experience, obviously I never took a tour like that, and I learned to get deposits and learned to work with people that don't stress me out, and that I know are trustworthy, so that I don't go through that. Like some of the horror stories I've heard of guys that recorded with producers and then they didn't get their files or didn't get their masters, or just other horror stories in the music industry. I got to be honest, mine are very far and few between. And the most stuff that, stressed me out normally was just self-induced from me, trying to do too much and getting overwhelmed. And I believe that overwhelm and trying to do too much is a big cause of anxiety as well, because you can't focus and you're trying to do too many things. And not only does it overwhelm you, scatter you, stress you out, I believe that's a big stir-up of anxiety, because you're thinking about all these things. And honestly, the mind isn't meant to multitask. Yes, our brain is like a powerful computer and can think and do amazing, incredible things, but it's not meant to multitask. All right, even on a computer, and I come from a very strong computer background. For those that I did IT for years before I did music. And when you try and get a computer to do multiple things, like if I export a video in my iMovie, and then I try and do other things, I notice not only does the iMovie export slow down, but all the other things that I do slow down. And this is the same thing that happens to us as humans. When we try and do too many things and we're multitasking, it slows us down. And I think every time we get distracted, takes up to 7 to 15 minutes to get back on course from that thing we were distracted by. So just one look at the Instagram and the Facebook and getting distracted from our task, it takes us a while to get back on course again. And so that's why I'm still encouraging you to unplug from that junk. And honestly, I'm not saying don't get puppies or dogs or anything like that. This is a trigger for me, and because of my childhood and just some, certain things that happened. And I just really noticed it, and I was trying to figure it out, and just to respond instead of reacting, And so I hope this is encouraging you that, you're not alone if you're dealing with this, and just to keep fighting and just know that God loves you, and to pray. I really believe that, to pray. I'm a Christian, and I believe that when I call out to God, He'll give me peace. From my faith, the story of Jesus who calmed the storms just with a word. And we call Jesus the Prince of Peace, and that means nothing missing, nothing broken. And He wants to bring peace to your life. He wants to bring calmness to the storms in your life. And doesn't mean you won't ever have storms, but at least you'll have someone to call on to help you when they do come, when they do arise. Because I tell you, trying to numb yourself with alcohol or drugs and smoking weed to get to sleep and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, that's just numbing yourself. And I promise you, God and Jesus is a much better, peaceful solution. So keep fighting the good fight, my friend. Today I'm actually going to be doing the Fanbase University call as I record this, and I can't wait to talk to some artists and encourage people. And I'll end this story. There's I think it was Dr. Menninger, who's a famous psychologist, who said, was interviewed, and they said, what would you do if you knew you were headed for like a nervous breakdown? And I'm not saying I'm having a nervous breakdown at all. I'm just sharing this story. They said, what would you do? And he's like, well, a lot of people would think the very first thing someone would do when they're headed for a nervous breakdown is go on vacation. And he's like, that's the last thing I do. He's like, the first thing I would do if I knew I was headed for a nervous breakdown, I would open up the door, I would walk across the street and find someone who desperately needed my help, and I would help them and do everything that I could to help them. And by helping them, I would be saving me. And that is such a powerful illustration about he who refreshes others will refresh himself. And as you sow, you will also reap. And the whole reciprocity law. Okay, and so I encourage you, if you are going through a tough time or whatnot, see who you can help, see who you can lift up. And that's part of the reason why I get so invigorated when I do Fanbase University. And if you've never joined one of those calls, you should see it. Like, I get pretty jacked up and just get a real high off of helping other people and answering other questions and helping artists avoid the mistakes I've made. Because, I'm so thankful when, I ask a friend advice or something like that, and I'm in a situation, he's like, no, dude, don't do that. I've heard you should work with this person, or, use this tool, or this is how you do that. And it's like, oh, thanks, man. You just saved me a lot of money and a lot of time. time. And that's really what it's about. Fanbase University is about cutting your time in half with the 15 plus years of experience I've had in the music biz, so that you can, quantum leap and get there a lot faster and less time and less wasted money, stress, and anxiety. So hope that encourages you. Go to fanbaseuniversity.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the next call. I want to remind you that a fighter isn't someone who ever fails. A fighter is someone who never quits. So if you're a struggling artist and you're just trying to figure out this music industry, you want to go full time with your music, you want to get noticed on social media, or learn how to launch an album, an EP, or just get your music more marketed out there, I want to encourage you to check out my coaching program called Fanbase University. Every single month, I jump on the phone 2 times with my students and I coach them and I teach them how to market their music, how to get noticed, how to handle booking agents, record labels, and just get their music out there. Also, you get access to exclusive training, you get interviews with music industry professionals. If you want to find out more and not do this on your own, not struggle, because I've wasted thousands of dollars on my career and now I want to coach other artists. Check out my program, fanbaseuniversity.com, or click the link below to find out more info.